Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Adhunika Prakash, and I'm the founder of Breastfeeding Support for Indian Mothers. We are a 7-year-old organization that believes in providing support and information to women on their breastfeeding journey. And very, very recently, we've started doing online consults where we can provide online LC support to mothers who are seeking support, and also we've started conducting webinars. But I am so excited to have with us Luke Coutinho. So Luke Coutinho is a world-renowned integrative medicine health coach. And I'm a big fan of his work. He talks about dry fasting, about the importance of lifestyle, emotional detox, the adequate amount of exercise that we all need to live, to have a very good holistic, approach towards good health. So thank you, Luke, for making the time for coming for this session. As we're all aware, this is Breastfeeding Awareness Month. And you have such a huge following and you do such amazing work. And the world is really grateful to have someone like you. So, I just wanted to understand from you what, according to you, is the importance of breastfeeding? What is the message that you would like to send across? Why is it important for the world to breastfeed?
So I think, there are a lot of debates about do babies have to be breastfed or not? There is no debate when it comes to the fact that it's natural. It's a natural process. If we as human beings are trying to interfere with a natural process, that's where failure starts immediately. Of course, there are some women who genuinely cannot feed. It doesn't mean that they're making a mistake. It doesn't mean there are a lot of people who, a lot of kids who are born and they lose the mother in childbirth and they're never really fed. It doesn't mean these children are unhealthy or they grow up to have bad lives. So it's clearly not the point. My point is, it is a cycle of nature. And I think at a point in the world today where there's so much of disease and suffering, it's very clear that we've moved away and we've challenged the cycles of nature. So there is no debate about it. Breastfeeding is extremely important and necessary. It's the same thing in the animal kingdom, and it's the same thing in the human species world. So there is no debate about it. It is important, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 1 year, or whether it's 2 years. It's what society has now put into us, social media. There's a lot of false information, the same way in nutrition. We always say, the people who wrote our nutrition curriculum are not normal people. They were the food lobbies. A lot of people who wrote the medical curriculum are pharmaceuticals. And the advice that comes out to us, which some of us blindly begin to follow, is from companies that are trying to sell, baby food products and all of that stuff. And I'm not saying they're bad, because a lot of babies who cannot breastfeed will need certain formulas which are of good quality. So everything has its place, but we cannot make and try to, poison the minds of couples and women that breastfeeding is not important and that there is an equivalent which is as good as breast milk. Breast milk is like gold. Everything that humans are trying to do through a probiotic supplement, a prebiotic supplement, oligosaccharides, caprylic acid, lauric acid, we've tried to isolate it and sell human beings these little products. All of that is in breast milk. We don't have to try to boost the immune system of a baby if the baby is being breastfed. We don't have to try to do that. We don't have to worry about probiotics and prebiotics. We don't have to worry about their hormonal health, because breast milk contains all of this. All of this. They have young mothers who say, Luke, my child just born. Can I give them vitamin C? And I'm like, what are you talking about? How can you, don't even ask that question. Are you feeding? Do you have the ability to feed? A lot of mothers have already decided before their baby is born, I'm only going to feed for 6 months. I'm going to only feed for 3 months because I want to get onto my workout programs and lose my weight. If that's your intention, I try to tell mothers, don't have a kid. Just don't have a kid. It's simple as that. You got to be straight up and honest, because these same mothers later come back with other problems. And, they may have lost a little weight or no weight at all, but they have bigger issues with their kids. So I think if you have the ability to breastfeed your child, that in itself is a blessing, and you should make use of it. You must make use of it, because there is nothing on the planet that can yet resemble the composition of breast milk. Nothing yet. And that's why there are breast milk banks today, where you can actually get breast milk, real mother's breast milk, to feed your children with, because nothing has been able to replace or even resemble that. So I think that's the importance of it. It goes to the formation of everything in a child. We see breastfed children usually have less colic, because, the breast milk has enzymes that help you break down the food automatically, which prevents colic. So we see a lot of less asthma, eczema, psoriasis in children who are breastfed. We see stronger immune systems. And it's not just about the kid, it's about the health of the mother. Today, science has proven it, medicine has proven it. Your chances and risks of a breast or ovarian cancer are lesser in mothers who are fed. Now, this doesn't mean that mothers who have been unable to feed will get cancer. So this is not a fear factor, it's just a risk factor. Then it helps them to lose their weight quicker. I don't know why most women believe that if they breastfeed longer, they put on more weight. But we have to understand the process of breastfeeding actually results in a lot of calorie burn. A lot of calorie burn, which can actually help the mother lose weight effectively and the right way. The more you breastfeed, the longer you breastfeed, the uterus shrinkage back to its normal state happens way faster than someone who doesn't breastfeed. Then it lowers the risk of osteoporosis. It helps to heal post the delivery. So you see, everything is a beautiful system of intelligence. You know, as you breastfeed, there are certain hormones that are activated compared to women who don't breastfeed. And the healing of the body is automatic once the breastfeeding starts. When the breastfeeding doesn't start, the healing still doesn't happen because that's like a signal. The moment the breastfeeding starts, the moment the baby latches on, it's also great for the bonding between the mother and child because of the oxytocin, the cuddle hormone that bonds the child immediately. So sometimes even if the mother unfortunately dies in childbirth, the nurse will take the baby and hold it against their breast or someone else because that connection, that warmth, creates an immediate bond because of oxytocin, which is a very, very important hormone for a child and a mother to be established literally immediately. And of course, it can save you a lot of money, you know, from spending it on, you know, necessary, you know, feeding bottles or whatever it takes. But that's a small part of it, but it's a big part for a lot of people who don't have money. So you see, it's beneficial, like I say, if you follow the cycles of nature. Okay, everything works better for us. But if we try to do all of these things, I understand the world has changed. Mothers want to get back to work, all of these things and stuff like that. Make an informed decision. But then later, a lot of them have the guilt. They're living with guilt for years that, Luke, you know, I shouldn't have gone back to my job so quickly because I didn't breastfeed my child. If you're going to do it without guilt. If not, then plan everything. You know, it's okay. You're having a child once in your lifetime or twice. Okay, what you give that child is a huge commitment. Is a huge commitment. And I tell parents to be fair to them. If you're not willing to give them your best, then you're better off not having a kid. Don't do it because you're under peer pressure and all of that stuff. A lot of problems can be avoided because of people's decisions. Today, if I ask 1 in 10 Indian women, not to generalize, you know, did you want the baby really at this point? And most of them are, no, my mother-in-law wanted it, family pressure, peer pressure. If you don't want something, you know, it just doesn't make sense why you're going ahead and doing it because you're not ready for it subconsciously or mentally. So that is the importance of breast milk. Your immune system of the child, everything gets developed when we are able to breastfeed.
That's amazing. This is something that we talk about on our platform so much, and it's so lovely to hear all of these words from you, Luke. And like you rightly mentioned, it's not that if the child is breastfed, you're not going to get any of those conditions. It's just that the child is not breastfed, you increase the odds. There's no absolute. So
absolutely.
I'm so happy to hear all these amazing words from you. So, you know, I'm a big follower of your page and I watch a lot of videos, and you talk about, you know, the importance of probiotics and prebiotics in one's diet and how it really impacts the immunity of an individual. So like you mentioned just now is that, you know, there are probiotics and prebiotics. Can you talk a little bit more about how that helps in the, you know, gut flora formation of an infant and how it can really help a child when the child is getting so many, not just probiotics and prebiotics, but also antibodies for illnesses that mothers and babies are exposed to?
So the moment the baby is born, the immune system starts getting built immediately. It's not built while the baby's in the womb. This is still under a lot of study. There's much belief now and scientific research showing that the moment the baby is born, that's the time the immune system starts getting developed. So a simple example, a woman having a normal delivery, as the baby comes out, okay, the baby's mouth and the nose rubs against certain microbes in the woman, and that starts populating the microbiome of the gut immediately compared to a woman who goes through a C-section. But again, it's always healthier to have a normal delivery. It's unfortunate that our country is corrupt and the world is corrupt, and C-section has been pushed on to most people. Whereas in rural India, I know there are hospitals, because we work with those doctors, where they can proudly claim that, for 5 years, we've had probably just 2 C-sections. Hundreds and thousands of babies are born the normal way. You know, so again, this is, you know, all of us being fooled by, the medical societies. Yes, when C-sections are required, they are required. But most women who have gone through C-section never needed it. Every woman and mother will relate to it. At that point of stress, the husband and the mother say, oh, look, your baby's pressure's falling, the heartbeat's changing, the cord is in the wrong place, and then you make a decision and do a C-section. But again, where it's right, it's right. Where it's wrong, it's wrong. So coming back to immunity, we don't ever have to worry about giving a kid a prebiotic or a probiotic because breast milk contains all of it. It contains something called oligosaccharides, which basically starts to build the microbiome of the child. So technically, you really never have to give your child a probiotic unless they go through heavy antibiotics, or the mother makes the sad decision of feeding their young child 2, 3, 4 years old a lot of sugar and junk, because then that wipes out the microbiome and you're going to need to give them prebiotics and probiotics no matter how much you breastfed them. So technically, breast milk is like that superfood. It's got everything to develop the baby's cognitive function, the brain, the neurons, the synapses, the liver, the lungs, the heart, the microbiome, everything. Everything happens with breast milk. And like you rightly said, the antibodies as well. How do you bring a baby into this world where there are already germs and pathogens and viruses all around? But the milk contains antibodies to basically help them. And there's new research also showing now that you breastfeed a child, they respond better to vaccines later in life. So there's a lot of stuff out there, but I don't think we need those many reasons to convince a mother to breastfeed. It's a natural process, period. You'll never find a cow deciding not to feed their kid. You'll never find a goat deciding not to do that. They follow the cycles of nature, and which is why they don't have as much of disease as human beings have.
That's true. So thank you so much for sharing all that wisdom, that you have so much of experience dealing with so many parents and families, and especially you also as you see people in the older age, right, with increased chances of developing diabetes and heart conditions, and breastfeeding also plays a role in bringing down the odds, because a lot of formula that is commercially available has got high fructose corn syrup. It has it has a lot of other additives, which are stabilizers, etc. So, on our group, we have a lot of mothers who were not able to breastfeed their first child because they did not get the support and information. So we strongly believe that a mother never ever fails at breastfeeding. It's a lack of, support and information that makes her opt for formula when there's no medical need for it, really, right? So,
correct.
Yeah. Once the second child is born, when they have the right support and the right information how breastfeeding works, that the more you feed the baby, more milk you'll make. And if you introduce formula, your milk supply comes down. So, but all of that happens, and then they reach their breastfeeding goals with the right information and support. So I wanted to ask you that for mothers, for whatever reason, if they're not able to reach their breastfeeding goals, right? Because the odds are stacked against them. Like you very rightly mentioned, the food manufacturers, the baby food manufacturers are affecting policy. They are affecting what education we even receive about breastfeeding. So it's all multifactorial. So for whatever reason, if a mother is not able to reach her breastfeeding goals, what would be the advice you would give her? How can she strengthen the immunity and, heal the child for whatever reason if she's not able to breastfeed?
See, a lot of them can. Very few women cannot. Okay. And it's not their fault. A woman who's under stress will not be able to lactate. It's as simple as that. And postpartum depression is something normal, and which is why, women have to get counsel. Organizations like y'all can help them. Stress will not allow a woman to lactate. We see this all the time. And then we tell them, start your pranayama, start detaching from what's going to happen in the future. Is your kid going to be healthy, not healthy, smart? All of that stuff. Forget about that, because these are normal thoughts that women go through. We try to involve the husbands to also support them, because they're worried about, they don't have support from husbands. And, it's a new journey for a mother, especially if it's the first child. They don't know if they're going to be a good parent, all of that stuff. Right now, your job is only to feed the kid. Worry about it. You've got pregnant. That's why I always advise women to get pregnant after you have really communicated a lot with your husband, aligned roles, drawn boundaries, who's going to do what. Have you sorted things out with your in-laws? Because if you've not drawn boundaries with your in-laws and now you have a child and the whole world is going to control you and advise you, that's the biggest problem in our country. Women are under so much of pressure from their in-laws and their own families that they can't lactate. So that's a big issue. So they have to learn relaxation techniques. They have to learn pranayama, yoga, certain asanas, the information that you all share, lactation experts can coach people. Then there are certain foods, if a mother's not looked after herself before pregnancy and during pregnancy as well, eating the right foods, it can affect lactation and what they eat after that. So many mothers today, they start going on a diet the moment they conceive. 5-6 days they're out of a hospital, they start trying to lose weight. The body needs energy to produce breast milk. And there are several foods which are today like scientifically studied. You have your sesame seeds, you have your tulsi, you have jeera, fenugreek, which is your methi seeds. You have oat milk, you have fennel seeds, which is your soft, your high protein diet, garlic. All of these things are foods that allow the body to be able to produce, and then there are the genuine issues of the baby being unable to latch on and all of those things. So I really think if women are told, there are Ayurvedic herbs today, shatavari, all of these things that really help. And we've seen it work like magic. So there are many things that can be done before they decide that we cannot breastfeed and stuff. Some mothers prefer the baby can't latch on to express their milk and all of that stuff. Like you rightly said, the more you feed, the more you produce milk. It comes down to that. So you see a lot of it is also, but then when we have all these fears, there's always a quick fix. Oh, I can't do it. Come on, let's just feed them formula. Feed them if you really, really can't. But if you can, it is the best gift that you can give your child. A lot of parents think, oh, education is the best gift I'll give my child. No, it's not education. A lot of children never get the privilege of education, yet they turn out to be millionaires and billionaires and successful people in the world. The best gift a mother can give their child is feeding them if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. Love, attention, nurture them. And as your kid gets born, let's be very honest, there are a lot of kids who don't get breastfed. Like I said, mothers die in childbirth. A lot of, mothers can't do it. It doesn't mean your child will grow up sick. It just means that as they grow up, feed them healthy diets. Don't introduce sugar till they're 5 years old. Don't get them onto junk food, till they're about 5 years old. Give them a balance. Feed them what you would feed someone you love. So a lot of parents say, I love my child. And then one side, they're feeding them chocolate and sugar all the time. I don't see what expression of love that is. You're causing more damage to them. And a mother, again, if the mother wants to be able to love their child, the mother has to learn how to love herself, which means, yes, you want to get back your figure. You want to lose weight. That's secondary. Primary is this. And let me give you an example, because a lot of women think that these are obstacles. Okay. If you look at a woman in a village, okay, they stop work a few days, they deliver their baby, within 5-6 days, they're back in the field and working, and they come back to their weight beautifully in 3 to 4 months without even going to a gym. Just simple activity, the right diet, and, a good mental frame of mind is what it takes. And if you can't breastfeed your kid, just feed them the right diet. That's extremely important. A natural, wholesome diet, and your kid will be absolutely fine.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Luke, for all your words of wisdom. So if you had to give like one piece of one piece of advice to women who are already breastfeeding. So we have a community on Facebook, which has got 1.25 lakh mothers. And we believe a lot in, natural term weaning. There are mothers who have to deal with a lot of shaming, how formula feeding mothers do have to deal with shame when they use formula. There are a lot of mothers who also have to deal with shame when they choose to breastfeed beyond 1 year and 2 years of age. So is there a message that you would like to send across to these mothers who are really, and it's not easy to breastfeed today, right? Because we're all living in nuclear setups. So a lot of women have to do all the household chores and feed their babies. So it's exhausting. So, is there any message that you would like to give these mothers who are really, having a rough time, but continuing to breastfeed post 1 and 2 years of age?
And just one tip, like, why do you care about what people think? It's as simple as that. When you have a baby, your whole world should revolve around your baby and no one else. When you become immune to what people say, it only affects us when we're attached to it. If I'm attached to what people are saying all the time, that means they're controlling every aspect of my life. As a mother, you should be proud. You should be proud irrespective if you're breastfeeding or giving them formula. Okay, you are being guided. You have your own guidance, and that's all that should matter. I think a lot of women care too much about what the world thinks, and that's the biggest issue in society, and that's why we're an emotionally soft society. You shouldn't have to care about it. When you go to places like Jamaica and all of these, where there are women openly breastfeeding, they're proud of it. We can't do it in our country. Of course, cultures are different, but you know what I mean? When you're proud about something, you don't care about what the world says. But when we're not connected inwards, we're connected outwards. Everything someone says, we react to their emotions. So my tip to a mother or any parent out there would be, that's your child. You do what is important for him and her. You don't care what the world says, because today the world will say, oh, wow, you're breastfeeding, you're a good mom. 2 months later, they're going to say you're a bad mom because you've done something wrong. So never be dependent on validation from society. If it is the right thing for you, do it. If you know you're doing the wrong thing, correct yourself. Correct yourself and do it the right way. But if that's what you can do, breastfeed for only 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, don't care about what people say, because anyway, half the thing that women say amongst women is out of jealousy. The woman who's making the mother who's breastfeeding feel bad is saying it because she's been unable to do it herself. So this comes down to human emotion. And I think women know that better than anyone else. So don't look for validation. My tip is, be proud you have a baby. Be proud your baby's healthy and in front of you. The baby has a mother. That's all that matters. Now, whether you can breastfeed for 6 months or 1 year, or you give them formula, intend that your baby is going to be the healthiest and enjoy the journey. That's all.
Thank you so much, Luke. Thank you so much for making the time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on this interview. And
Most
we will be
welcome.
sharing this brilliant video of yours on our Facebook platform and YouTube as well. So thank you so much for making the time. And on behalf of all the mothers in my community, thank you so much for coming and talking to me and talking about the importance of breastfeeding. Because we say it all the time, but when Luke says it, there's going to be a bigger impact, talking about the importance of breastfeeding. So thank you so much, Luke, for your time.
Thank you. And continue with the great work you're doing. Take care.
Thank you so much, Luke. Thank you so much.